state of the art. Ideal irrigation must lead to increase in yield per kg of water applied, right, or value. That's how the Israel model is. The Israeli model is that farmers bid from the grid how much water they can receive, right? And based on how much yield they're going to produce and the value of that yield. Whereas in India, groundwater is private property. And then the other point is that this water that we are using is not only for plant growth and yield, but also to be able to absorb, spread, retain, and release, which is very important for the organisms in the soil, which is reflecting of soil health. Drip irrigation arrived in India almost at the time when I started my rural development. I used to do drip even in 1979-80. And even now, we consider the state of the art as technology, although no improvement has taken place in its water efficiency. This is ironical. We are still considered state of the art, and I don't know what could be the lobbies of the powers, but that's what is going on, and I'll tell you the correct a little later. As I've already said, campus trials have shown that 65 to 75% higher water application is done compared to scientists' recommendation, whereas the data of the ICA or even Jain and NetFM, etc., claim water savings by 70% compared to flood irrigation. Now, where does the reality lie, in my experience? Farmers say that drip reduces labor cost. Flood irrigation was a big labor cost. And you know, today labor is the biggest issue that farmers are facing. And more importantly, it comes with a 90 to 100% subsidy. So therefore, while we may believe that drip is saving water, I would think, no, it is not true. No, there is no considerable saving in water application at all that is happening. But yet, we still are going ahead with drip as the only. The more important point is drip logic is field capacity to wilting point. This is very ideal and effective in the application of petrochemicals, such as urea and NPK, but is extremely poor in accounting for soil biology or microbial survival. In other words, what I'm trying to suggest is that the entire architecture of irrigation in India has been driven by petrochemicals. It was not driven by water savings. And therefore, unless we revisit the science and move on from water as the quantity to measured moisture at the root zone, we will not make any substantial difference either in the quantum of water being used or the soil health or even the kind of produce that we eat. I think that's the key point that I would like a message to go on here right now. Now, to tackle evaporation loss and heat waves, precision irrigation now uses 30 to 100 micron single-use plastic, which covers the whole thing. And when I go to the villages, I see piles and piles of them lying. Most of them are shredded into the soil itself, and they're pulling it out, right? And therefore, this is another thing going on in the name of precision, right? And it isn't at all. Of course, there are other parts of precision farming, but I'm just talking about the precision irrigation part. So therefore, the goalpost that we have set is anti-sustainability. It's short-term, immediate results, etc. Why? There will be no soil aeration, no sunlight into the soil, no rainwater infiltration, zero soil organisms, and ideal conditions for the increased application of industrial chemicals. Right? While the producers want, while the farmers, while the consumers want healthy food, actually we are being driven through a system in which we are not going to at all produce healthy food. As yield responses to fertilizers are falling, more quantities are being applied. Punjab experience of Tamil Nadu or coastal Andhra is very much, which means they have to apply more water. That more water has to drain itself. They went and polluted all the water bodies. So the ecological and environmental damage done by this whole science of irrigation is something that we need to think of. I think the entire system thinks that soil doesn't have to live. Soil is just an anchor. And I think that's the key reason why soil health is in such a poor shape and worse is going to come.